2025. Welcome back, everyone. Had a little bit of a break over Chrissy, New Year's, spent some time with family, caught up with a few mates, went to the river for New Year's. That was pretty awesome. But hey, we're back here now. So 2025 season calendar has just been released. Would have seen that on Facebook. We would have posted it up there. But yeah, we've got the calendar now, so we know what we're shooting for. First round in March. It's good, looking forward to it, but that doesn't look like a car that's ready for March. So we've still got motor to go back in, dry sump to plumb, sort out, work out whatever little bugs arise from that. Then from there, we've also got to sort out the fuel system. So little jobs. Get the radium surge in, get the new Raceworks seat in. So Raceworks have now started developing their own FIA approved seats, which is what we need. So a full containment one there. That'll be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to checking that out. But yeah, none of this is going to happen if I don't stop procrastinating. Just wanted to say welcome to 2025. Let's have a crack at year racing. Cheers. What's going on, everyone? Back with the 34, continuing on with the dry sump. Now, I've had to have a bit of a slight change of plan. I've got all my Raceworks hose, but I'm just struggling with the room that I have and the radius that we need. So like, if you've played with this Teflon stuff, it's fairly flexible, but it's just not flexible enough. So that there's your dash 12, and then to put it in perspective, this is a BMRS hose, Brown and Miller, and that's a dash 16 hose, and it's like way more flexible. So what it's meant is I've actually borrowed a couple of hoses off Dougie. He uses this in his Rexy. So I've just grabbed a couple for kind of mock-up to get lengths. As you can imagine, the Raceworks gear isn't too badly priced. This stuff is dear as poison. And because all the ends on it are swaged, you kind of only really get one go. So with this stuff here, that hose there is going to end up back at that point there. It's a 45 degree fitting on at the moment. I've just ordered them with 60s, so that'll come out nicely there. This hose here, same thing, we've got a 45 on it, but we'll put a 60 on, and then that's going to come there, and it's a tight radius, but there's at least no kinking. So, and then our suction side, I've actually got 150 degree on it, which means it comes out the pump, up around, pokes up through here, and then I can run it down alongside the chassis rail. Now, that's a dash 16 hose. It would appear to be overkill, but Doug actually had some issues with oil pressure in his Rexy, which then was resolved by running a larger suction to the pressure side. So we're just gonna, instead of skipping the shortcut and going the easy route, we're just going to make it dash 16 now. Run a dash 16 all the way to the firewall, put a dash 16 bulkhead fitting on, and then I know that it should be mint. So we shouldn't have those issues that Doug was having. So the issue is caused by the suction actually cavitating as it's trying to draw the oil. So these ute motors use a fair bit of oil, like you got 6 oil squirters in them, which does consume a fair bit. So trying to keep the volume of oil up to it is what we're chasing. Next step now, I've got most of my lengths worked out for these hoses. It's a pretty boring, tedious process, so I didn't bother filming too much of it. Now the motor's going to come back out. I want to clean up. I've obviously cut a bit here for this to section through, so I just want to tidy it up, take out any of the sharp edges. I think I'm going to do a similar thing down here. I knocked out a couple of these supports. We don't even, like the engine mount pretty much runs along this one anyway, so this is kind of surplus, so I'll probably just try and trim the sharp edges out of it and clean it up. Like this side here, we've trimmed off the length of it, so this one's not even attached, so I can probably remove that one and just gets us some extra room. So my big concern is with these new lines and how the dry sump is, I think we're going to end up having to remove lines to pull the motor out, which isn't ideal. It's going to add a bit of time to the removal process, which it's a fairly quick engine out. But unfortunately that's part of the parcel. It's the game we play, we're adding complexity and something's got to give somewhere. So I think it's just going to be the fact that we might end up having to remove a couple of hoses to be able to put the engine in and out, and we may have to put obviously hoses on once the engine's back in. That'll be life. Where we've routed them, we should be okay, but we'll see. I don't think there's too much to update on from there. I think it's now just going to be, we're going to get the motor out. I've picked up the engine stand from Ample the other day, so get the engine out, and then I'm going to take the girdle off again, because we've just, at the moment we're purely relying on that O-ring seal, and I'm wondering if that O-ring seal is part of our leak. So we're going to go take the girdle off, clean up that O-ring face, reseal that, glue it down with sealant, and then we can glue the sump on with sealant, and then if we have another oil problem, I'll be baffled. So anyway, we're all on. Unfortunately, working in such a small area, it becomes a mess at times, so I've just gone through, giving the place a quick tidy up, try and reorganise everything. I've got the engine stand ready to go. All those tubs, that's something different. We're actually just changing how we are doing all our nuts and bolts, all our AN fittings and that, so there might be a video coming up soon about how we set up and what we do for race weekends. So yeah, time to remove the engine. do when I come around to see what a real motor is. Motor's out, sump's off, flipped her upside down, starting to get this girdle off. So the PRP girdle, these are done up to 25 foot-pound. Good luck getting them undone. The countersunk just seems to bite in on the alloy. I had a chat with Doug. He's pretty used to seeing that. Apparently the Subi gearboxes do a similar thing. So we've tried normal Allen keys, snapped the end off of it. Tried an impact one. And I don't know if you can see it there, but it's actually twisted the whole hex. So I ended up getting a decent impact set, and that's actually started to twist the 5mm on that as well. So yeah, Doug's basically said the best thing to do is to drill them out. So I've just taped up all the little holes in the girdle, and we'll just get ready to drill them. What I think I'm going to do is, I had it here a second ago, I've got a lid, I don't know what I've done with it, but I reckon I'm going to stick over it and try and drill into to try and catch everything. I've also magnetised the drill bit. I don't know if that's a bad thing, but hopefully keep some of the swarf still attached to the drill bit was my idea. Oh, here we go. So just with that hole in there, my thought is if I can hold that while I'm drilling it, hopefully all the swarf will just collect in that cup, and then whatever doesn't, I've got a magnet, I will just hopefully clean it up. So I reckon I'll chuck you guys on the time lapse and see how we go. Hopefully these all come apart. So I've just changed over to a 8.5mm drill bit, so slightly larger than the bolt. Should be an 8mm bolt, but you can actually see in some of them where there's a little bit of black starting to come through. So they're drilled and they're nearly there. And what I had happen on that one, I think it was, is as soon as I chucked the larger drill bit in, it just popped the head off. So I don't want to drill too far down, because you can see like I've kind of marked up that alloy a little bit there, just on the very edge of the hole. So I don't want to be doing that. So I'm hoping that now if I go through with this larger drill bit, it's nice and sharp. Hopefully it's just going to pop them off. What I might do is grab the magnet and have the magnet alongside, just to see if it does pop like that. Beautiful, like a pop rivet. Another go. Pop. Beautiful. Thanks for the tip, Dougie. It's been a lifesaver on this one, I'd say. Beautiful noise when it pops. Ready, last one. Beautiful. Those three that'll actually come out with an Allen key. All these busted ones. I'm not reusing any of these. Again, even the ones that come out, all the heads are knackered. Now hopefully I can lift this up. And any swarf or mess will just go with it. Well, I'm kind of glad to see that. That rear actually looks like it's been pinched. So there's schlaz all the way around, which doesn't look like it's bonded too badly to the bottom of the block. But this is the front. This all looks actually pretty good sitting in here. Look at the rear. The rear's, that's all pinched. So that's pinched. That doesn't look too great. That doesn't look too great there. I don't know if you guys can see it. Neither does that. That looks really bad. And that would have been turbo intake. Yep, that aligns with where I thought. There seems to be a bit of oil kind of all around here. Just that staining. I reckon that was it. I'm not a huge fan of this O-ring. It was an absolute nightmare to get in place. I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to wire wheel the girdle, clean the block, give it a really good brake clean, and then have another go. But you can see these here will just wind out. So there's actually no torque on the threads. It's just all on that head. As soon as that head pops and releases that pressure, these are straight out. Try and break that bit of wire off before we lose it in the motor. Well, that's a nice relief. So next step, clean everything up, get ready to schlaz it again. I've got all the hoses are coming. They should be here in the next day or so. I'll probably be back at work by that stage, but see how we go. We might even get the motor back in. We can put those hoses on once they're here. So let's get going. All right, everything is cleaned off. Got all the silicone residue off. We've got the girdle, so this is where the old O-ring used to sit, but we had issues with it, and I'm basically just going to put silicone in the groove now. I think around here was where the O-ring pinched last time, trying to get in like these little intricate areas. It just did not want to sit. So we'll do that. I've got some little blue bottle over there, got some acetone in that, so we'll use that. We'll give it all an acetone down, wipe it down, make sure it's all spotless, no oil anywhere. Nice part is the motor upside down for ages and it not running for a while, then there's no oil dripping through anywhere, so I don't have to worry about that. So yeah, I'll probably chuck you guys on a time lapse. I'll give it a clean down and then throw silicone on, and then I'm just going to bolt it down through the main cap. I'm going to leave the sides loose. It's rigid enough, I reckon, that it will put enough pressure down, and then when it comes time to put the sump on and bolt the sump down, I'll glue the sump to the girdle, and once that's all tightened down, then we should be sweet. It should all just go down really nicely. But anyway, keep plugging away. I'll chuck you guys on the time lapse, so stick around. This grey comes out alright every now and then you get some. Seems to be pretty hard to control the speed, but we'll tidy it up. Alright, so silicone on, nice, decent bead, whole way around. Gone through it, done 2 or 3 laps now, made sure that all the air is out from between, like from the O-ring groove. So there's a nice decent amount in there. Yeah, next up it's going to be put it on, see what happens. Yeah, let's go. Alright, so girdle on. I've just got all the bolts in just to make sure that everything fit. Everything's in all the way around except for this hole, but that's a long story that I cannot be bothered getting into. I've got all of these torqued down 25 foot-pound. If you read the PRP instructions, it says not to use thread locker because they'll get extremely tight. Well, I never used thread locker and we had to drill them out. So yeah, I'm not using thread locker again. One thing I have done though is noted down the size of those Allen keys, because what I'll do is I'll just buy another set and have another set sitting here. So one of the tubs I've got, this one here, this is actually my teardown tub. So this just has bits and pieces in it. They used to be like alignment pins for the sump. So when I'd screw those into the block, I could just slide the sump over that, and I wouldn't have to worry about smearing silicone everywhere from the gasket. So yeah, I'll I've got a couple here. So they're the ones for the girdle. They'll end up living in here. So if we do have to pull the girdle down at the truck and I've got to drill them out, it's going to be a bad day, but we've got the parts to do it at least. So, also not sure if I've shown you guys, but our new balancer's turned up. So Sam from Milton's hooked us up with that one. We've got 2 days. So that's a larger diameter, that's the 1000 horsepower. So that actually takes the mandrel for the dry sump, the bigger mandrel that came with the Savvy pump. So this mandrel here will go with the other pump that Stewie Bryant has bought from a Costal. So you can grab that one. Yeah, I reckon we're kicking some goals. I'll probably come out tomorrow night, glue in the other couple of cone washers, and then stick the sump down. And that'll probably be that. Once the sump's stuck down, it's time to flip it over and put the motor back in the car. I do have to work out what I'm going to do with this hole. So that there is, instead of a M8 hole, that's a M10. I don't know if that's a standard thing from factory. I don't know if they've used that hole there, which may have been an RB26 hole. So it could be the 10mm thread, but all I know is that this sump hasn't got the 26 thread in it. So unfortunately I've got a bit of a mismatch of parts. We've got the 26 block, but I bought a lot of this when we were initially using the 25 Neo block. And then we're also at one stage going to have an RB30 because the engine builder wanted to do an RB30 and then he changed his mind, and yeah, it's been a bit of a mismatch. So had I known that I was actually going to be starting out with the 26 block, I probably wouldn't have got that sump to suit the 25. Yeah, so here's what it is. We'll go there. So it just means that because all of the Allen keys are so nice and tight in here, like that fits in there really nice, that means it doesn't fit a 10mm. So I'm either gonna have to do some stuff. What my plan is it fits a 13mm head in there, so I'm probably just gonna drill that out to 10mm. I'll put a 10mm Allen key in the lathe, turn the head down to 13mm, so it'll fit, and then should be good to go. It's going to be what it's going to be. You don't need to put that much pressure on it, so I don't see it being an issue, and it's captive inside, so should be pretty good. Anyway, I think that's probably going to do it for tonight. Yeah, I don't think I'll get the sump on tonight. I've started to tidy up the subframe. So like I've just taken out some of the gusseting that was on here for kind of stock engine position. So we've taken a fair bit of stuff out from what Stewie has, like all the front here is all cut off. That's normally longer, and we've cut it back, but then we've tied it into this bar. So we've made a few changes. So just want to tidy this bit up here because there's some sharp edges. This cut here obviously used to be like this, so we just trimmed it through here, but the idea of that is so we can get our other hose through. So Motorsport Connections, they come through too just before Chrissy sent us over the hoses that we need. That was like a super quick turnaround, but this stuff's massively flexible, so that's awesome. We have a lot of the bits to get the dry sump done. It's just going to be a case of time, how I go with work and then my days off. We'll get there. Alright, I'm going to cut this video short here. We did a bit of a question on our Facebook page what everyone wants. The kind of general consensus was about a half-hour video, so there's a lot going on in this. I didn't want to just cut it short and not show you guys everything. This is about 4 hours of footage that I've recorded. So I watched the video from Stanceworks the other day. It was like 20 minutes bending one tube, but it was heaps of detail and I really enjoyed it. So I want to do the same thing. I don't want to just chop it and all that. So what that's going to mean for you guys is, instead of fortnightly video, I'm going to chuck one up next week. So this one's left us girdles on, engine, well, the car's ready for the engine. Next week we'll get the sump glued down and engine back in and start plumbing. So yeah, cheers everyone for watching. Hope you've all enjoyed, and yeah, you've only got a week to wait and you'll get to see part 2. Cheers guys, have a good one.